I can't wait to hear more about Yoodli from a Yoodli ambassador. And as Sunny said to me, is Yoodli awesome? Well, now everybody's going to get to hear about it. And I return control of the virtual space for Toastmaster of the Day, David Carr.
Thank you, Joni. Well, welcome to our guest speaker, Sharan, who's going to give us a little bit more depth. Now, I have to admit, even though I had heard about this technology, again, I tend to roll my eyes when I say Toastmasters being innovative with technology, but actually they're doing pretty well here. Or at least they're not necessarily the ones creating it, but they recognized that it was something that was good and useful, and it was worth sharing with this community. Now, like a good person doing the MC duties, I did ask how to pronounce Sharan's last name. I'm not even sure I'm getting his first name right. And he actually gave it to me on video, so I could go back and listen and get it right. And I'm still going to let him introduce himself. But one of the things I noticed on his LinkedIn profile is he mentions that he was intrigued, among other things, about the potential of this tool for helping English as a second language speakers, or potentially people who are in another country speaking English, and English is not the language of that locale, and being able to get some coaching on coming up to speed on their business language, their business presentation, as well as what it's doing for us as Toastmasters. And there were other aspects of the product that you can talk about. I know that Sharan is somebody who has studied and knows the engineering end of machine learning, artificial intelligence technologies, but as a head of product, he's also a business leader. He's getting the technology and translating it into business value and value for all of you. So welcome, Sharan. Tell us a little bit more about Yoodli and how we can use it effectively. And for those who haven't tried it yet, give them enough of a taste that they're gonna have to go check it out.
Absolutely. David, thank you for such a warm introduction, and thank you all for having me. I know it's quite late where you all are, so I will do my best to keep this entertaining and engaging. As David mentioned, my name is Sharan Jhangiani. I lead product at Yoodli, which basically means I spend my days talking to really, really, really cool people and learning from them how we can help them become better speakers. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to help everyone and everyone speak with confidence. There's far too many people in this world who don't back themselves and as a result get left behind. From the engineer from Malaysia who doesn't look at me in the eye during an interview because they think it might be rude, and henceforth doesn't look and appear confident and maybe doesn't get the job, to that student in the back of the classroom who's so afraid of looking silly or dumb or saying the wrong thing that they just don't say anything at all. Or to that introvert who's finally scored that first date with their crush, but is so scared of saying the wrong thing, they say nothing at all. So many of us have been here, and I have too. In high school, I was that kid in the back of the classroom. My headphones were on, my hood was on. I'd do everything I could to avoid attention. And when I did get called on, or when I was required to speak, my cheeks would get all rosy, my hands would get all palmy and sweaty. And even if I knew what I wanted to say, it just would not come out right. I was really lucky. I had a teacher who stepped in and helped me and told me I had a beautiful voice and took the time after school to help me go through lessons and practices and enjoy and find that love within my voice, doing activities similar to what we do in Toastmasters. I changed immediately and I fell in love with speaking. I participated in business competitions. I went and spoke in front of my entire graduating class, and then I even gave a TED Talk. And now here I am today. And so the goal with Yoodli is, can we help that immigrant who's applying for that job? Can we help that student in the back of the classroom like I used to be? Can we help that introvert on their first date? And we think that technology can help. Who here's heard of Grammarly? Okay, quite a few. Awesome. And who here's heard of Duolingo?
Same.
Awesome. Quite a few. The goal with Yoodli is to do what Grammarly's done for writing and what Duolingo's done for language learning, but to do the same for speech and communication. Now, let's be super, super clear. Yoodli and AI will not replace the human speaking experience, right? It will not replace the Toastmasters experience, and it won't even come close to replacing the individual speaking experience. Because speech is so deeply human. It's so emotional, and it requires people to be at the core of it. But what we can do with technology is make it easier for people to learn and improve and help augment their experience as they become better speakers. We work really closely with Toastmaster world champions like Ed Tate, Craig Valentine, Mark Brown, to make sure that as we build Yoodli, we're building it with humanity and humility at its core. Okay, that's enough talking from me. I'd love to show you all what Yoodli actually looks like. So if you allow me, I'm going to share my screen. And where's my share screen button? Awesome. And is that visible by everyone?
Indeed it is.
Lovely, thank you.
It's
This is
visible.
so when you join Yoodli, this is what you're visited by. You've got a few tutorials on how to use the tool, as well as a warm video from Matt Kinsey, International President, welcoming you and explaining the partnership. Yoodli is free and accessible for every Toastmasters member in a specific special Toastmaster experience. So there's a few things you can do in Yoodli. Let's assume I'm practicing for a Pathways presentation. And let's say I'm really nervous and I'm like, I just really need to go practice. And maybe historically I would go practice in the mirror. With Yoodli, we built the smart mirror. So if you go to the top right corner on Yoodli and you hit record and you click speech, you can go in here and give a practice speech about anything you want to give. Does anyone want to throw a prompt at me or a topic at me? And I'll give a 1-minute speech and try my best to be somewhat coherent.
Abstinence.
Sorry, what was that?
Abstinence
In what
abstain.
context?
From using too much Yoodli.
Seriously.
That's a tough one.
A time when you had to abstain for religious or social reasons.
Okay, let's say abstain from alcohol. Abstinence.
Okay, let's try that one. Wow. Oof. Okay. Oof.
Good luck.
Abstinence, especially from alcohol, is actually quite a difficult thing to do. And let me tell you why. As a 23-year-old male in Seattle, Washington, it's really difficult when every weekend, the majority of the people in my age demographic spend their nights and evenings hanging out at bars or going to clubs or just generally drinking. As someone who sees the side of not drinking, the health benefits of avoiding alcohol and conducting abstinence, it's really challenging to not feel that social FOMO. I'm going to start speaking really fast and use a lot of filler words here. Alcohol is it's not good for you because when you wake up the next morning, your head hurts sometimes, and maybe it'll make you throw up, and it's just like really not that great sometimes, and like the alcohol doesn't even taste that good, and like I don't really know why people drink it because it's just like not that great. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. That was quite a mess. Sorry about that. I'm gonna hit save recording. And let's imagine that was my speech. Instantaneously, I've got a transcript of everything that I've said, along with a lot of really interesting metrics on the right side. I can play back the video and just look at what I said. So this is how we call our smart mirror view. On the right side, we've got my counter. We can see right where I started using all my filler words, from 6 ums, right at the start where I said, I'm gonna start speaking really fast and use a lot of filler words here. So like, y'all get the point. I can then see, hey, interesting. I have a lot of filler words in this section. And let's assume this is like a 30-minute long speech. Now I can say, oh, wow, interesting. At minute 27, I had 15 filler words. maybe I need to go revise that specific section. Or let's assume I'm looking at my analytics and I say, interesting, my top keywords were like, that's not great. The second most frequent keyword was alcohol. That makes sense, but maybe I should have talked more about abstinence. The topic of this conversation was abstinence. I should have made abstinence a more frequent keyword. What I can do up here is I'll also just quickly title the speech, alcohol and abstinence. If I go to the left bar, I can also go ahead and look at my pacing. And wow, look at that. We can see right where I started to take up and speak really, really quickly. Yoodli provides a lot of really valuable metrics that help you as you develop your speech and practice, gain insight into how you're speaking, specifically from the delivery standpoint. It's a great way for you to learn and grow about certain aspects of your speaking ability. I'm going to stop there for a quick second and see if anyone has any questions. Yes. My Zoom bot is blocking that. Is it Mario?
Indeed it is. All right, Sharan Jhangiani. I'm going to butcher your last name. Jhangiani.
Yeah.
In how many languages is the tool translated? And does it cover only alphabet? Like, does it cover also Cyrillic? If I were to speak in Slavic, will it also use non-Latin alphabet? Is it, or is that like, or Arabic or Chinese? I know that's way down the road, but is it feasible with the current pace of development of your tool?
So right now we're English only, and for the foreseeable future, I think the plan is to stick English only. The reason for that is we want to be very intentional about building the right product. And so that's why we work with incredible ambassadors like Joni to ensure that we're building the right product that's useful for people like all of us. Eventually, we'd love to get there, but it's something that's quite far down the line. Good question. There's one more question here. Is it Charmaine or Charmaine?
You're muted, Charmaine. Charmaine, your
Charmaine,
microphone.
unmute.
Actually, while Charmaine is doing that, I have a question, if I may, Sharan. There are two versions of Yoodli available, one which is just at yoodli.com and the other which is via Toastmasters. Is there any appreciable difference between the two? Does it make any difference if I log into Yoodli or if I log into Yoodli via the Toastmasters website?
Absolutely. So the Toastmasters experience, or the Toastmasters Yoodli version, is customized to the Toastmasters experience. And so what I mean by that is you have specific table topics, which is a feature that doesn't exist in the normal Yoodli, as well as if you go back to a speech that you record, and this is a speech that I just recorded, the general evaluation form is a little bit more in line with what the Toastmasters experience provides. A few other small things here and there. You can generally get most of the experience from both of them, but we do heavily recommend using the Toastmasters experience as a Toastmaster member.
Ron, if I have one.
Yeah.
Is there visual feedback as well as feedback on the spoken language?
In the sense of how well are your hand gestures, your eye contact, and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, you ran your hands through your hair at one point. I was wondering if we were going to get some comments on that.
Yeah, there's nothing around specific gestures quite yet. That is something that I can say is definitely in the works right now. We do have some insight on eye contact, and sometimes this gets a little finicky. The lighting in this phone booth in particular makes my eyes look just dark the whole time. I live in this phone booth. It's not great. But we can do some insights on smiles to see how well you're smiling, and a little bit about your centering. But definitely looking to add more in terms of gestures and how we can give some feedback on body language as well. Great question, David.
I believe Charmaine's mic is now on.
Oh,
Yep.
Go ahead.
My question is for a first time with Yoodli. How do you find it on the website? Like, how do you know where it's located? How do you open it up to start and that sort of thing? Because I'm new to it.
Yeah, great question. It's in your member portal. And what I'll do is, and David and Joni, if you don't mind, I'm happy to share instructions on how to get there along with the video. Would you mind passing that along so that there's
Yes,
a
we can share that with all our members as well as everybody who registered as a guest. As long as you're registered on the website as a guest,
Oh,
we'll get you that.
beautiful.
As
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, Sharan.
Thank you.
And
Failing
Janet,
that, let me know at our next meeting, Charmaine, and I'll show you before the meeting begins. Charmaine's a member of
Oh,
one of them.
thank you, Grant. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet, did you have a question?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sharon, thank you for your presentation. I have two questions, actually. My first question, you have the share button that you are able to share your video, maybe with your coach, with your mentor. That link, it goes just for the Toastmaster person or can go to any email address? That's my first question. And my second question is, now I'm forgetting the second question. I'll go back to the second question. I have it clearly now. I can remember.
Okay. So to answer your first question is to share your speech. You can share it with anyone who this configuration here allows it so that anyone can view your link, no matter whether they're a Toastmaster member or not. However, to comment and to interact with your Yoodli, which coaches will do, like if you have a mentor and you want them to give you feedback, they need to log in so that they can add feedback at specific seconds here. So to interact, you need an account. And if you want to interact with someone who's perhaps not a Toastmaster member, you can do the same experience on the public version.
Okay, perfect. My second question, I remember what it was, is my second question was, I forgot again.
No worries. We can jump to a few more questions and then come back to you in a little bit. Is that okay?
I remember upload. When you upload a video, can you use a YouTube link? When in our club we have this YouTube link, or it have to be MP4 video, or can be a link, just any link?
It needs to be an MP4 or an MP3 video. I think there's a few other. We allow WebM videos as well. Not a YouTube one quite yet.
Okay.
Folks, I will mention we are at the official end time of our meeting. I think we, as long as Sharan can stay with us a few minutes longer, perhaps we'd like to chat a little bit more. But if you need to leave, please feel free.
Happy to stick around. Andrew, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Here is my question. And I want you to think about using the expensive Nikon or Canon cameras, and in those cameras to help you frame your picture. For example, for the eye contact, they would have like targets so that you know where you need to put your subject. Do you envision at some point in the future, I mean, Yoodli is identifying eye contact, but is there any way that you can envision the targets of where your eyes need to be so that you are having eye contact? And what happens if you go from regular eye contact to an avatar? What does it do when it sees an avatar? Does it do anything special about that? Or does it, because the avatars are set up so that they're dead center and the eyes are to be seen clearly. But I don't know how Yoodli would respond to that in terms of giving you feedback on the fact that you're using an avatar.
Wow, I'm to be completely honest, I don't know how Yoodli interacts with an avatar. I've never seen that one before. But read your first point. I think that's a great suggestion that I will definitely take to the team and see if it's something we can implement long term in terms of giving that feedback for where your eyes should be targeted. I'd have to get back to you on that second one. I've never used Yoodli with an avatar before, but you may be our first. Awesome. Does that help, Andrew?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Excellent. Mario, did you have another question here?
Yeah, I shot your text. Did you get it?
No, sorry, I'm not reading my pings quite yet. Let me see. Awesome.
All right, that was it.
Thank you. I'll take note of that. Is it Andre?
Yes, Sharan, Andre. Hello there. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. At the same time, I'm quite curious to know. I can see that two icons about Sharan's Yoodli and Toastmasters Yoodli. So what exactly they do in our meeting? Are they spying on us? How they're going to be used? What can we do with them things?
Yeah. Great question. Actually, Joni, did you add the Toastmasters Yoodli?
I'm using the ambassadors one currently, I believe.
Awesome. Okay. Andre, to give you some context, so in the public Yoodli version, separate of the Toastmasters Yoodli, there's an option to integrate directly with Zoom calls. And so what you can do is if you share a Zoom link with our Yoodli page, Yoodli will join the call and record the call, transcribe the call, and provide analytics for everyone on the video call itself. So everyone in this room or in this Zoom meeting will have access to this recording after we share it that has analytics on how well every single one of them spoke. So all those analytics we saw over here, we can see for everyone else at the same time. So everyone in the Zoom call can get their own specified analytics for when they spoke in the meeting.
Thank
I
you.
have a little add-on to this for you. Most people like Yoodli because of ums and ahs, and it's helping if it's a second language. But I never had an issue with a second language. What I hate is writing things down from a meeting. And the beauty of this with the collaboration is that it saves you that effort and time, because you will at least be able to go back to that transcription. And with the collaborative area that it has, it helps out the secretary greatly in any online meeting, which is actually the biggest part of why I love using. And just a shameless plug, Distinguished Toastmaster 2 for Joni Laidlaw is coming up, and I know Yoodli is a lot technologically based. That's hard to learn in a short period of time. For the 1st of April, we're going to go deeper, show more, get more explanations from the team. It will give you time to play around with it and figure out all of the questions that you will have or need to know that can be demonstrated practically, because we all know how much I love practical demonstrations. And I dropped that information in the chat for everyone.
We are 5 minutes past our official meeting end time. So I would like to give Sharan a chance to give his big finish statement, or one cool more thing that he wants to show us, either or, and then we'll stop the recording. If people want to stay on and chat a little bit more informally afterwards, that's great. But Sharan, the stage is yours.
Awesome. I'll go super fast. There's one last thing that I think is super fun with Yoodli that I'd love to share before I jump out of here. We have some really fun games, and these games are a ton of fun to play. My favorite in particular is called Spin a Yarn. If you'll give me, I'll play it for a quick 30 seconds to show you what it looks like. And these games are accessible to everyone and a ton of fun. A good thing that I've done this year was spend a lot of time with my family. My parents are incredibly close to me, but I don't have a lot of time that I actually see them. Sometimes I would just go home, maybe grab some salt if I didn't have any in my apartment, but I wouldn't really spend that quality of time with them. To me, wasting time feels like poison. At a certain point, I thought, oh man, I should be out there living my best life, not spending time at home. But you know, the next thing I knew, I was looking at the future and well, not great. But spinning yarn is really fun because it throws you a bunch of words and it gives you this opportunity to practice speaking off the cuff. There's a bunch of other fun games, and I know we're well over, so I'll leave it there. Thank you for all the questions, and thank you for having me. And if you have any more, I'm happy to stick around for a little bit longer, and then I'll share my email, and would love to see you all in our community as well. David and Joni, I'm happy to share a link, and if you all don't mind sharing that along, that would be much appreciated as well.
We're happy to share whatever you'd like to share.
Awesome.